extravaganza. Perfect. So again, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check the top banner to see the other talent. Let's just list them off. Yeah. We also have Jornea Del Marco. And then we have Katsu Aso. And then finally, it's Sarah King. You can check out all of their Instagrams. I'll be posting them. I'll have a special post again tomorrow. I've been kind of teasing it and showing it over the past week. And now it's officially out and happening, okay? All right, everyone. So if this is your first time here, I have a cup, and it's for a reason. This is a show, and it happens every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Up first is a long time, sort of, in the world of streaming life friend. His name's Christian, and he's requesting the box right now, right? Right. He's a stand-up gentleman. He spent the last few hours trying to figure out his outfit, and today we're going to learn about him, his love life, by popular demand, everyone, and how he is just it's a little bit different. You're emitting confidence from the hair down, and that's what you get to stand on, right? If you stand on here, if that's accurate. All right, so Christian, for those who have not met you before, that's unfortunate because you are a very genuine, you're a very fun guy, and you make your way around the Meet Me community. But for those who haven't, will you please introduce yourself?
My name's Christian. I've been on here streaming since December 30th of 2019. So I've only been here for 4 months streaming, but I've been hopping in lives for 3-4 years now.
Wow. So for 3 or 4 years you viewed, but only up until recently did you start streaming yourself. Yeah. What originally had you download the app?
Honestly, I don't remember. I had it back when it was my yearbook, and then I deleted it for a little while, and then I just got back on it to get to talk to people and then I started meeting people like Mr. Wiggles. He was one of the first ones I met off of this app. Mm-hmm. And basically him and I have become great friends. I got him to go streaming, and then recently he's talked me into it a little bit. So yeah, I used to stream once every 6 months, and then I was started the new year. My New Year's resolution was start streaming pretty much every day.
Wow, well that's a lot of information to go through. Again, many of us do know you from the streamer side. One of the most fun aspects I think of doing these conversations to know people and who they are off of the app. Prior to Meet Me, I mean, I can't imagine now that you spend a lot of time on it, but prior to it, what did you spend your time doing? Did you have any hobbies? Did you have a job or a friend group, or were you trying to find something to do? What kept you busy?
So pretty much I'm a lifeguard. Obviously right now I'm not because everything's closed. Usually on Thursday nights I hang out with some friends. We go to dinner at a different restaurant every week. Tuesday nights I play trivia at 54th Street with a bunch of friends. My parents come. We suck at it, but it's fun. We get to get out of the house and hang out with each other.
People love to do things that they're good at, except for trivia, apparently.
Right. I mean, it's even though I've heard most of the song, it's a song, movie, or TV show kind of trivia. Even though I've seen the answers multiple times, it's a no-go.
No, they recycle the same trivia for trivia night.
I mean, they're different categories and everything, but the same answers come up quite often.
So you're not the phone a friend option.
I am not. And when it comes to songs about pop is my jam.
Okay, like Faygo, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Okay, just excuse me. Well, they're not all winners. Okay, my interdictions are not always winners. Okay, let's move on. Okay, and you said that specific nights you go out to eat with friends Thursday. So you have a routine life. You're a very scheduled, punctual kind of gentleman.
I am.
That's interesting because I'm happy if I make it out of bed at a decent time. But you're over here with the friend groups and the real life happening. But then you download Meet Me. How did you start to make it part of your routine, or what made you want to become part of your routine?
I just saw all the fun that everybody I was watching was having. I get to talk to new people, meet new people on a daily basis. So I was like, let me try it out one time. It's slow at first, but if you stick to it, it gets going. I've got a great family on here nowadays. We support each other 100%, and I love hanging out in their lives. I love it when they hang out in my lives.
Yeah.
It's a blast.
I specifically remember back in December, you had come into my live stream. You said, "Hey, Chris, my name's Christian. It's nice to meet you." And you hopped in my date box and you said, "I want to start streaming." And you said, "How do you do it?" And I said, "Why are you asking me? I'm a terrible person to ask." No, that's not true. But no, I remember talking about it. And where are you today? Give us some numbers. How many favorites? How many diamonds have you earned? Those types of things.
I just hit 2 million diamonds yesterday. I'm pretty close to 2,300 people, I believe, favorites.
So to put it into perspective, it took me 4 months to reach my million. So we could say you're double as good as me, honestly. I mean by that measurement, right? 3 months. But by any measure, performed at almost twice the rate. And I think it's for good reason. Can you tell everyone a little bit about what you do in your live stream?
During the day, I usually just play music, talk to everybody that wants to come in. Then in evenings, I'll play, depending on the day, I'll do some trivia. We play some Would You Rather, Never Have I Ever, different stuff like that. It just depends on who comes in, what everybody wants to play for that night. I kind of leave it up to whoever comes in.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you do many more things than that. There's these games that you do sometimes involve some jelly beans and other antics.
So yeah, I did Bean Boozled a couple times.
Yeah. What is the best Bean Boozled flavor that you've had?
Oh, that's the blue. It's either berry blue or toothpaste. You can't go wrong with that one.
Okay. And the worst flavor?
Stink bug.
Stink bug.
Oh yeah, that was the only one that I pretty much almost wanted to throw up on.
Really? They made a flavor that actually was gag worthy?
Oh yeah. I thought it was.
Maybe you could give it as like a gift, like batch order stink bug jelly beans or jelly bellies.
That would be if you hate somebody that much. I mean, you could probably do it.
Maybe April Fools. It passed, but we can be late to the party.
Right.
And then you mentioned the family element. So what is your family? That word is used loosely around the platform. It means different things. It can be a community. It can be an emoji. It can be a gifting group even. So what do you
basically that's what we just started. That we just came up with a name within the last week. A few of us it's the APIF in my name, always paying it forward. So we just came up with that because we always gift each other. We help gift everybody because pretty much all of us love seeing the smile it gives people whenever we gift them.
Nice. And how did that develop?
Honestly, it took us like a week and a half to come up with a name that everybody agreed on.
How many people is this? I mean, this was actually a group effort to organize some sort of community.
Yeah, so pretty much K-Bear and I were I feel like the main people that wanted to come up with it. We got MVP, we got a guy named Drag. My girlfriend has it in her name, my sister has it in her name, and we basically just all support each other. We go into each other's lives every time we're all on. We gift a little something here and there.
I like it. Very cool. And what has the community meant to you? Do you feel like you've made any friendships from the app? I mean, 4 months is a short time, but in the streaming world, I'd say it's like an eternity almost.
Oh yeah, it feels like I've been on here forever when it's really only been 4 months. I mean, I went to Playlist. I got to meet you. I met a few people that I would never have imagined meeting. Katie B, obviously, you know how geeked out I was about her whenever we were going back to the hotel.
We'll get into that.
A whole bunch of other people I would never have, people I didn't even know were on this app, I got to meet and got to know them. I started favoriting them, started going into their lives. Mm-hmm. But Playlist is one of the best things I ever did since I started on here.
Let's dive into that a bit. What was the decision go to Playlist? I mean, to put it in perspective, in less than 4 months, you decided to make a commitment to go to Florida and meet up with a bunch of people and be around a bunch of people that you had never met before. So how did that even? Yeah.
So I actually wanted to go last year to 2019's, but I realized it 3 weeks before, and I didn't have enough time to put it together. So Mr. Wiggles and I started planning the week before 2019's playlist to come to 2020's playlist.
Wow.
So this is a year in the planning.
That was back when you were viewing only, correct?
Correct.
Wow. Why did you decide to not stream for so long? What do you think you were holding? Because you've done well.
I was more of a supporter. Like I loved hopping in people's boxes, talking to them. I don't know what actually made me go live for the first time. I was more just scared if people were going to come and it was just going to be boring for a couple hours of for a whole day.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of stopped me from going. Yeah, S was there originally. I used to be called the box hoe because I would jump in everybody's boxes.
Mm-hmm. So it was a bit of a confidence piece. Did something help you move you along to gain confidence, or did something happen to change that for you?
Just a lot of people telling me how good I am as a supporter, that they would support me in the long run. So me supporting them, they'd help support me. I guess that's what helped me gain a little bit of confidence.
That's awesome. We bunny trailed a little bit away from playlist. I was gonna say PlayStation. We're out here playing video games. From PlayStation, from the playlist. What was your playlist experience like? I mean, you planned it for a long time, as it turns out. How did it end up being?
It didn't go any way I planned at all.
Really?
Yeah, it got crazy, but it was a blast. I made a lot of friends, met a lot of people. Pretty much, I got too drunk a couple times. I almost got kicked out of where I was staying.
You of all people, really?
Yeah, I was staying with Chris and Alex and Confessions of a Side Piece for the Saturday night, Friday and Saturday night.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, they pretty much wanted to kick me out on the curb. And so, next year I'm not drinking at all.
What? I mean, let's get into the tea. I mean, what did you possibly do? I mean, you seem like the guy who's gonna save a fly, right? Like, what could you possibly?
So it didn't help that we hadn't eaten at all. So the alcohol was going straight to me. But one thing that I thought was hilarious was the Saturday night after the pool party.
Sure.
We went to the Mansion House for a party. So we were there for 45 minutes or whatever. And then we were leaving. Well, I went to go get in the car. I rolled my ankle off of the curb. So I kind of fell under the car, all right? So
wait, time out. They're like, hey, this guy who's injured himself, he's definitely a problem. Let's get rid of him. We don't want to deal with that. Just imagine your wounded body on the side of a curb in Florida. Strangers walk by you.
Yeah, so I was laying on the ground like this because I was just too drunk to get up. And Chris gets out of the car, says, get up. I did not. So he picks me up and basically throws me in the car.
Wow. Was your ankle okay? Did you actually injure it?
I mean, all right, so I was fine because I was drunk, but after we got back to the hotel or back to the Airbnb and went to sleep, I woke up at 3 a.m. and my ankle was killing me. I'm pretty sure, I couldn't walk the next morning. But, I was so drunk that, I couldn't feel the pain.
Okay, well, good example. Hey, meet me who's listening for his top badge. Just keep that one on the notes. Okay, so next theory, you're not going to drink or whatever.
Maybe one at most. If anything, I'm eating before.
Sure, yeah. I'll believe you when I see it. On that note, though, I just was joking about the top badge. That's something that you've been making a run for. I'm curious as to what badge important to you. What is valuable about it to you?
From what I've seen, people get more people in their lives with top badges, and that's just more people that I'd be able to help or affect in a positive way. Helping them grow like I've grown. Just getting out to the community a little more.
I like it. Do you feel like you bring anything different to the table, or what do you feel may set you apart? And this can be a heavy question because there's a lot of talented people, but what do you feel that differentiates yourself?
So I don't know if this differs me from anyone else, but I've noticed a lot lately, and I'm not hating on top badges, but I've noticed a lot of them don't go into other people's lives. I know you do, you show up to mine every once in a while. But there's quite a bit that I've never seen hopping through lives, mostly, other than other tops. That makes sense. I want to be able to be I'm going to hop into all the people that I favorite if I become a top badge.
Yeah. There's such a sour joke. You can say, well, you don't see them in your stream, but
that's true. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Chris. I was saying because we're friends. Let's go back to Bliss. I want to actually bring up a story. So when I met Christian, there were two things that were important to him. One was meeting Katie B, who we both agree is a fantastic streamer. Would you say she's your favorite streamer?
I wouldn't say that anymore. I have quite a bit of streamers that are pretty equal right now.
Okay. Hear that? Shots fired. Okay. But other than that, there was a fun story of Christian signing me. That was especially important to him. Christian, I don't know. Next year, I think we should think of a contest or something because I absolutely refused to let you sign me. Because
he did 100%.
I
pretty much I was like, I had my marker ready and went to go sign him. And he was like, no.
Oh, you're not signing me. Now, to be fair, I was going to go on a panel and I was nervous. So that was most of what played into it. In the back of my mind, like when Christian says, I want to sign you, even though he grabbed my arm and was going to press here, it's still, I pictured it being like across my forehead. And that, it doesn't make sense, but at the time it did. Anyway, enough about that, because there's one last topic as we move to the last portion of our conversation that I want to spend some time on, because it's special, it's cute, and I think it'll warm some hearts. And I think it's also a little bit of a piece of the history of the app, because this used to be known as like a dating app. I think if you were to ask anyone here, it's for streaming. It's for making connections and relationships of all kinds, not just intimate ones. But in your case, something has blossomed.
It has. I saw my girlfriend's name in the chat a couple of minutes ago.
Okay.
But,
I want to take it back. So here you are, Mr. Christian, hanging around in the Meet Me verse, doing your thing. How do you originally connect?
Like with her?
Yeah, where do you first see her? Yeah.
So basically I did a 24-hour stream back at the beginning of February.
Mm-hmm.
And she come into my live. That's her right there. She came into my live right at the end of my 24 hours. And I'd favorited her and everything. And basically I got off the live. I was like, somebody was trying to talk to me, but it was being complicated. So I basically kicked them out of my life. But so she came in the next time I went live, and she was trying to keep her space because she didn't want to get between me and the other person if we were still together. But I had told her, I was like, so yeah, me and her are talking.
The ladies, man, who knew? What? I mean, what?
What? So basically we started talking, and my pickup line that I used on her was it was, can I give you mouth to mouth? I'm a lifeguard.
Well, you are a lifeguard.
And here we are 2 months later.
That is good. That is good. Oof.
It worked.
I don't want to. It worked. It worked. Now, was that the first time that worked? Don't answer that. I'm not putting you in the dark.
I've never used that pickup line before.
Wow, that warms my heart. Listen, ladies, it's out there. Okay. All right. So you made the connection. You just went. You bold-faced it. You didn't even lightly tiptoe around like, "Hey, saw your live. You're really good at talking and doing things." Blah blah blah. You just bold-faced came in there like a fighter jet and just said, "Hey, I'm a lifeguard. May I give you a mouth to mouth?"
Yeah, I was like, there's one person that I want to feature with, and it was her at that time. So I was like, I'm gonna make my move. It happened, and everything.
Had you developed any rapport? I mean, that's a big statement. Had you developed any rapport before you had said that? Had you had any sort of exchange?
I mean, yeah, we were talking. She came in my lives a couple times.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't like funny. So she put up. I got her on Snapchat and everything, and got her phone number, and then she put up one of those YOLO things on Snapchat, and it was like, I don't remember what the topic was, but I was like, that's the line I used on her, and then she was like, yeah, but she knew it was me because I told her it was a lifeguard and everything, and so she knew it was me, and so then basically after that we just basically clicked.
Did she slide back in the DMs though? Like you said it, did she slide back?
Been in my DMs on here, just on Snapchat and texting.
Okay, well, that's all we need to know about that. That's for you two. Okay, so what has that been like though? As a streamer, it does change a little bit of the dynamic of how you live stream, or does it not? Tell me.
I don't think it does. Everybody, I mean, pretty much everybody that I associate with that comes into my life knows about her. Everybody loves her. She's amazing. She talks to everyone. She even goes into all my people that come into my lives. She goes into their lives all the time.
That's cool. And do you feel like you've now developed friend groups and now it's become even more of a community?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something interesting too to the dynamic of your relationship, which is that she's not from the U.S.
She is not. She lives in Ireland.
She lives in Ireland. And so what are some conversations that you're having? Obviously, we live in the Ronaverse right now.
Yeah, before the whole Corona thing happened, we had talked about her coming when she was able to, because of work, was November. So she was going to come down for the week of Thanksgiving.
So you're thinking you were thinking around Thanksgiving.
I mean, we pretty much had planned when she was coming and everything, and then the whole Corona thing happened. So we don't know when she'll be able to come over. But that doesn't change anything feeling wise. She'll always be my girlfriend. Well, I guess she won't be my girlfriend until I marry her, but you know.
I think at that point you skipped a step. It's like girlfriend, then when you're married, that's a wife. But you could, however you want to hash it out, that's like between you guys. I'm not here to judge or anything. But yeah, however you want to, what are labels, right? What are labels?
Right.
Right. Okay. But yeah, so Christian, the apparent ladies man, fallen with an Irish lass. Did I say lass over there? I'm not sure. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right, but that's really cool. That's really cool that you were able to find something on here and have it make a positive impact on not only your stream but the community around it. So now, as we begin to kind of wrap up this conversation, Christian, is there anything that you're passionate about? Anything that we haven't learned about you that would give someone some insight as to who you are that you'd like to share?
I mean, if you guys ever have a problem, I love talking to everybody. If you ever want to become friends, feel free. I love making new friends.
I love it. Okay. And when do you go live? If someone would like to catch you or, drill you about your pickup line game, when can they come visit you to talk with you?
So I usually go live if I don't work that day, twice a day, usually from like 11 till about 4 or so. And then I take like a break, get some food. And then I go live again about 6 o'clock, usually till like 11.
Okay, and is that Eastern Standard Time?
Central.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. And the hair situation. I don't know that you can leave without us addressing the hair color. So what happened?
It all started back when I was at 200 or 50K diamonds. I made like a bet. Whoever got me to my 250K goal would get to pick the hair color that I got to dye it. So basically, Tia had got me to my 250K, and she didn't even know about the picking my hair color. So I was like, all right, Tia, you get the pick, blah, blah. She picked orange. She wanted rainbow. But I'm like, I can't do that. I'm on a budget here. And so she was like, all right, fine. Orange is fine. So I did orange as it was in my picture. And then today I dyed it. I tried dyeing it purple. I bleached it, and then it mixed the orange with the purple, and now it just looks like a red, pink, purple mess. But it's okay. I like it.
It's something. It's something. It's good.
You never know what's going to happen in my life.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Oh, man. All right. Well, hey, I had a great time talking with you. Everyone, if you have not favorited Christian, he's a wonderful gentleman. He loves making friends, and he's done a great job of it. He's regular in my stream as well. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. It's great talking with you.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you later, brother. Bye. That was good. That was wholesome. We had some wholesome content at the end of that. He went there. He said, I'm a lifeguard. I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. That's bold. All right, everyone. So that was our first guest tonight. We still have 2 more. Now next is someone that I've been calling by the wrong name, but it's Tiffany. Her name's Tiff, and I'm really sorry about that earlier. Anyway, and she's requesting the box now. In fact, it's invisible, the request. There it is. All right, everyone. Please welcome to the box the one, the only, by the correct title, Miss Tiffany. Hi, Tiff.
Hi.
It's nice to see you. Thanks for
I thought
coming.
I wasn't on the show because you said Taylor, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm next week.
Yeah, no, that was when I meant to just call you Tiffany, I called you Taylor, which prompted a great conversation in the live, in fact, which was really just a cover game. I totally knew it was Tiffany. I just wanted a way to start the topic of the show that day, which was, have you ever called a significant other by the wrong name? Which always goes over great. And that was a great conversation topic in the live the other day. So that was good. Anyway, back to you though, Tiffany. For those of you who haven't met Tiffany, how long have you been on the app?
I got on the end of January, but I started streaming the very beginning of February.
Wow. So another relatively new streamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And making waves already, which is why we're here to talk about it, because you've had a lot of success quickly here. And so just to begin with, what was the original reason that you had downloaded the app?
Because my best friend, like my real life best friend, is on here. And I would see her spam Snapchat all the time with like her live on Meet Me. And I was like, I've never went on that. And then one night, like I missed her and I was like, I'm going to just hop on there. And I ended up in her box for like hours, just talking to her to connect with her.
Are you comfortable sharing who that person is?
Yeah, it's just Savvy on here.
Just Savvy. Oh,
Yeah.
You mean like Savvy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean that's like not just some streamer. It's like one of the top streamers. Yeah. So that's a pretty good plug to start out with. That's like a nice in, yeah.
It was, but I didn't plan on streaming when I first came in. Like I had no like thought of streaming.
Was that how it panned out then? Did you stick in that box where people were like, hey, go live? Is that what happened?
Part of it, yeah, but that's not like the initial reason I went live.
Well, tell us what happened that motivated you or triggered you to go live yourself?
Initially, it was just like loneliness. Like I lived by myself and I was sort of having a bad night and I was like, oh no, let me just try it. And I ended up on there for like 9 hours, my first stream.
You got infected. They say never once. One time is all it takes, you guys. And you're hooked. And then you're on this show with us talking. That's problems. No, 9 hours. What hooked you? What got you in there so deep?
Just good conversation. I was meeting so many new people. Like I'd never been in a situation like that,
Yeah. Was it a bit spontaneous, the topics, or did you have things that you needed to vent, or were you just feeling lonely? Did you figure or find that the community was relational? What was going on there?
It was more of like just a distraction, like just the distraction of it, I think, was what helped.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And so it grew from there. So it went from that 9-hour stream to, did you find yourself going live every day, or how did that end up playing out for you?
I've never been able to go live every day. Like every other day. I think I did 3 days in a row when I was quarantined from coming back from seeing Savannah. Because I just went and recently saw her. I hadn't seen her in like 4 years. And
Yeah.
this made it possible for us to reconnect after like 4 years.
Wow.
So I changed every day then. But it's like maybe 3 times a week usually.
3 times a week. And so I guess between Savvy and then what you're doing with your own stream, I feel like you're just working in a great direction. So other than that, I mean, you mentioned you are only able to go live 3 times a week. What do you stay busy with in your real life for those of us who don't know?
I have a lot on my plate. I work in the medical field. And I'm opening the first women's sober living here. That's like a lot of my time.
Now, what does that mean? I mean, the title gives some, I guess, ideas, but the first women's sober living, what does that mean?
It's a sober living, like it's a house where recovering addicts can go and be in a safe environment and just like sort of readjust to like normal life, like deal with those struggles and in a safe environment.
Yeah. What motivated you to do that? That's very specific. And
I'm in recovery myself. So
okay.
that's, I guess, what dropped the idea.
Yeah. Now, is this something that you discuss openly in your lives? It's something that we can start to pull out a little bit here, just to give some ideas to maybe help or connect with those watching.
I don't have any secrets.
Sure. Okay, so I guess, where did it begin with you? How did that start? I mean, what has your life's journey been that led you to a path to recovery?
A bad marriage. Truthfully.
Okay.
That was a bad marriage, and I just was so depressed. And treatment was like, it wasn't that I was like an everyday drinker or anything like that. It was just that, like, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to be here anymore, and I was like, I just needed more. So I went for 9 months, actually. When I went, I just like stayed because I just started working on myself, and it was like I almost got addicted to that, like working on myself, and I've never stopped. Like I gained this ambition that I'd never felt before, and that was just like, I've never stopped with that.
How long ago was this marriage?
2 years ago.
2 years ago? And how long have you been sober?
2 years in July.
2.
Like, it ended right when I went to treatment.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so how long of a time period would you consider that you had a problem or had something that you were in not such a great situation with?
I think, like, I was a partier since, like, right after high school. I was like a weekend partier. So really I struggled with it, like, as soon as I got out of high school on.
Okay. And it was heavy usage, and then the marriage exacerbated it.
Yeah, he was in the military, and so we were traveling. I didn't know anyone.
Mm.
So it was just lonely. He would leave, it'd be lonely, just stuff like that. There were so many factors.
Mm. Okay. And what ended up prompting a change? Was it self-driven? That's, if someone's in a situation where they're under heavy use and they end up having to have some sort of intervention or change, what was it that prompted or motivated you?
It was just that, like, I had hit rock bottom, like, emotionally, not necessarily in my actual life, but just emotionally I'd hit rock. Something needed to save me. I didn't know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
That was just the choice I made.
Okay. And is that how it wound up being, that you separated, or that you went to rehab and then you separated?
It wasn't my decision, actually. When I went to treatment, he filed for divorce. So it wasn't really my decision.
Wow.
Yeah, so then I had to deal with that too.
How did you feel at the time about that? I mean, I'm not quite to an understanding of what your situation or feeling with him. Did that come as an extra blow? Did it feel like a relief? How did that feel for you?
I think it felt like he was doing something for me that I couldn't do for myself. Like, that I'm loyal to a fault, so, like, it's really hard for me to give up on someone, and I felt like by him doing that, I was relieved.
Wow. And so you don't carry negative feelings towards him then?
I do not.
Wow. Well, congratulations. I'm happy to hear that. That's a positive turn out of it. From the direction of the story, you don't know how that may play out. And so here you are today, 2 years later. Has that been difficult for you to stay sober? What was your rehabilitation process like?
Giving back was, like, the main thing that helped me. I started volunteering and giving back, and it gave me this, like, confidence I hadn't felt before. Like, it made me feel good about myself. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of ran with that, and I've been doing that ever since. And that's just sort of how I think the confidence that I had low self-esteem then. So I'm constantly working on that. What
type of volunteer work were you doing?
Mainly, like, animal shelters, homeless shelters. I did beach cleanups when I was in Florida. Anyway, there was a women's rehabilitation here, like, for addicts. And I started volunteering there, teaching topic groups. Like, I just kept myself really busy.
Yeah. Was there a particular experience out of all of that was eye-opening or that surprised you?
Yeah, just, like, this whole sober living, like, starting that, I didn't think that I could ever do anything like that. Mm. I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be doing that. So, like, that was just really cool for me. That's been like that's like my baby, you know?
Yeah.
I just thought I could do anything like that.
Now, have you spearheaded this on your own, or are you working with a team of people to get this off the ground? I can't even imagine how someone begins to launch something like this.
I'm working with my community. Like the Chamber of Commerce is actually funding like my place. So, but it's a nonprofit. So, yeah, I have a lot of help. Like grants, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of help to get it off the ground.
Now, is this place like a safe location for people to come together and support one another and live sober? Is it a place where there's counseling and teaching? How does a place like this function?
So basically, there's no like professionals there as far as therapists, things like that. It's just a sober living to where people that are right out of jail, right out of treatment, it's where they can come because, I mean, I had to do that myself. I went to sober living after treatment because whenever you get sober, there's like a lot. Like it's a lot. It's very overwhelming for people. And so a lot of people can't go back home. A lot of people come from homes where there's a lot of drug use, stuff like that, just overstimulation. So it's a safe place for them to start rebuilding their life, get a job, like just fix all the things that, a lot of legal trouble, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's a safe place
and then you mentioned during your daily life as well that you work in healthcare?
I do.
Okay, and what do you do in healthcare?
I'm a nurse, but I'm pursuing my bachelor's right now. So I'm doing both at the same time.
So what have you seen involving the coronavirus? How has that impacted you?
So I personally work in long-term care, and that's like who's getting hit the heaviest. But the facility that I work at is the only in my entire town that does not have any positive cases right now.
Wow.
Yes, it's been so fortunate.
Wow. And you said that that's who's getting hit the worst. So does that mean that, do you mean by elderly people or
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? Okay, I understand.
I shouldn't really say that. I guess that's more of an opinion.
I understand. Okay. And so just to kind of wrap things up and put the kind of the bow on that is there's a reoccurring theme with you of wanting to help others, whether it be, you know, that you've helped yourself and now that you're helping others in this capacity. What's the driving force? Is it just that you like seeing others happy, or what's driving you to work so hard to help other people?
I think that it was because at one point in my life, I didn't want to be here anymore. And so for that to change and me want to live and want to do so much, I just want to like do all that I can with this life that I have now. Like absolutely everything. That's where like that ambition comes in. I want to do it all. Like I really do. And I never felt that way before.
That's awesome. Do you feel like Meet Me has enabled you to do more of that?
It has. Yeah, it has in different ways. That's why I have like ideas I want to do on here that surrounds giving back.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, it started by like I was thinking, what good purpose is this going to bring to my life if I keep doing this? I like sort of question myself sometimes, and if I ever became a top streamer and I had more exposure, I could do like where I give back a portion of proceeds to one of these places I volunteer at, where I could make like a donation, because I just give my time, but I don't ever give, you know, any form of help, and I don't make any forms of donations usually. So like that sort of sparked all that. I was like, wow, that could be really cool. I could get other top streamers maybe on board with that. You know, if I'm circulating.
Saw yourself putting your time in is valuable. That is giving. That's giving a lot. In many ways, that can help more than money at times, because there needs to be the actual boots on the ground to get it done and take action, and that's important when you're doing that.
I just want to do both, I guess. I want to do more.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. And that leads into another question that I typically ask is, you're going for a top badge and you've been successful so far. So can you run some numbers by us just with the amount of time that you've been on the app? Where are you sitting at diamond wise and favorite wise?
I don't know my exact diamond, but I know I'm creeping up to 2 million, and then I have almost 7,000 faves, I believe.
Wow. And that's just in a couple months. So you're doing excellent. And so just piggybacking off of that, you said having a top badge would help you take that to the next step, bring more exposure, more awareness to the causes that you're involved in.
Yeah, and just like, I don't know, things change all the time. I want to come up with different things all the time, you know? It's always changing.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there was something that you could share, I mean, obviously you were committed to this in a great way, but is there anything that you can share for someone who's out there who's struggling or questioning if they need help? Is there anything that you can share or a piece of advice that you have that you can give?
I think it's all about your perception of things. If you can try and keep a positive outlook and just keep moving. I mean, I read like devotionals and stuff every day. I journal. I think if you put in some work towards yourself, that everything will sort of fall in together. And just look for the positive in everything.
Yeah. I like it. Well, cool. Well, if people want to catch some of this and get to know you more and find out more about what you're involved with, when can they find you live?
I am generally live on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And at what time? In what time zone?
Usually in the evening. I don't really have a specific time. I probably should work.
So they got to favorite you, right?
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Well, Tiffany, is there anything you'd like to share or go over before we wrap up today? I know that we spoke about a lot and it got very personal. Thank you for that. But is there anything else that you'd like to share or talk about?
No, I just appreciate you. I didn't know who you were when you came in my date box randomly, and like I just appreciate you having me on here.
Definitely. I'm always scouting out and figuring out who we can bring on here. So I appreciate you taking the chance in the interview.
I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was like deep breathing before I got on here. I was like,
yeah. May I share a little bit of that?
yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Tiffany was messaging me ahead of time. She goes, Chris, I don't know how I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I said, just sit in there. I promise you it'll be fun. It'll be good. So for someone who has turned down, because I've had a few people turn down because they're nervous about this, do you feel like this was as bad as it was hyped up in your mind to be?
No, not at all. I think it's just the unexpected. Like, I don't know what you're going to ask me. And I think it's better this way, though, because if you would give someone like a lineup of questions, I don't think it would be as genuine. So I actually liked this better.
I used to. I have a whole template. I had a whole template that I sent out, and I'd get these big blocked answers. Sometimes they were rehearsed, and some people liked it, some people didn't. I found the most authentic conversations came from having light scripting, and so I still do a bit of it. But yeah, excellent. Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on. I had a great time talking with you.
Thank you so much.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. All right. Hey, wholesome content tonight, from finding your significant other out there in Europe to saving lives and helping others in need. It's the wholesome content night. But then we're bringing on Chris. Not this Chris. It's another Chris. The KRYS Chris. I met this gentleman at Playlist, and I've got to say, hello, sir.
Oh my God.
You are the you for me being referred to at times as the other Chris.
You're the other
I
Chris.
get referred to as the other Chris.
Nah, you're still above me. So
No, not even close. I would not say that by one fraction, sir. Dude, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming by.
see you too, dude. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. This is a long time in the making because we've been looking at this for a hot minute, but here we are. So
I know you asked me previously. I was nervous. I'm still nervous, but I had to push myself.
Oh, you're a top grade streamer, and we're gonna find out about it. Today's been all about the app. Like I mentioned, typically I'll bring on people who are not on the platform, but today I thought it'd be great to go back to basics. No badges. All people who are hot on the leaderboard, who are great streamers, but just don't have the badge. So I brought it right back to the original content of what the show was, and I really liked it. So thanks for being part.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
So for those who haven't met you, will you please introduce yourself?
I'm Chris. I've been on here for God knows how long. I've been on here since it was my yearbook. I was off for a long time. I got a business, so that really just kind of took up a lot of my time, and I got my dealer's license suspended. So I'm just on here until I get that back, to be honest. I mean, I may stay on. I probably will. because I enjoy all the connections I made. You know, everybody's so nice and they just show nothing but support. So it's amazing.
That's a controversial statement. You're like, I may stay around. I don't know.
Nah, I'll
let's-
stay. I just don't know if I'll stream as much like every day like I do.
Let's crack into the heat of it though, because that's interesting. You mentioned that you have a business. So what type of business are you involved in?
I own a used car dealership.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are the used car salesman. You own the
Yeah,
whole.
that's-
You're not
that's
just selling
me.
a lot. You own the whole thing. When did you get into that? What was the motivation to own a used car lot?
Honestly, my motivation was I never had anything. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come from a lot. So at a certain point in time, I had to stop feeling bad for myself and the decisions that everybody else had made and just start doing things for myself. So I started selling phones when the Note 3 or 4 came out and the batteries were bad. I went around the states around me and picked up everybody's for like $100, $150 and then sent them back to Samsung, and they send you checks for like $1,000. So I sent like 1,000 of them back, and I started from there. So I started selling motorcycles and four-wheelers and things like that, and then got into cars.
Hold on. Well, that's a big jump. That's like Cardi B money moves over here, man.
Yeah.
I want real quick too, just for context. You said that you didn't have much. So for you, was growing up difficult?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I don't talk about it on stream or anything, but I'll talk about it now. Both my parents were into drugs, in and out of jail and stuff, and I went to like 26 high schools, a bunch of middle schools, and things like that, and never really lived with them or anything. So it was just kind of hard, you know. So I had to make something for myself.
Right. So you leave high school and you kind of say, now what? Or did you, what did you do once you left high school?
So actually, I never talked about this either, but I didn't graduate high school. So I didn't graduate high school, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with myself at that point in time. I just knew, like, I've always been good at talking to people and selling things. So I figured that was the best route to take, and it's something that actually made me happy. So I enjoy connecting with people, being able to conversate with different people all the time and things like that, which is kind of what led to this also, being on Meet Me. And
That is personal that you didn't wrap up high school. What was the thought at the time? I mean, do you just feel like you were with the wrong crowd, or you didn't see the point? I mean, we've had several people on here who have had turnaround stories, and part of it was that they didn't go through the whole high school experience.
Well, being at so many schools, it always put me either ahead or behind depending on where I was, and moving around so many times, it just like, one year they actually took all my credits away for the year prior, and that's the year that I decided to just, like, I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't keep moving and putting myself in that position to where I'll never get ahead.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it just kind of led to that, and I decided that that was the best decision for me at that point in time.
Yeah, and then it leads to sales immediately. So what was the first position, or what was it that you took on? Was that the flipping the notes, or what was it?
Yeah, that's what flipped it for me. So straight out of when I dropped out of high school, I started just, selling phones here and there, like laptops, iMacs, things like that. And then when Samsung was like, we'll give you checks for all the phones that you send back, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to build something for myself, build capital, and actually start a business, and just build something for myself.
Wow. How do you convince people to sell you their notes for $100-$150 when you could turn them in for $1,000? How'd you convince people to do it?
A lot of people didn't want to send their phones back, and they had already bought new ones, and they were so scared of them blowing up in their pockets and stuff, they didn't really want to do anything about it. And Samsung had to send you like a container to ship them back in and everything. So
You took the inconvenience and you made it a business.
exactly.
I like it. And you were able to gather thousands of phones. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was hard work and a lot of driving. I was on the road for like a month just picking up phones and stuff like that.
Wow. And what did you do with the money? Because truthfully, I think someone in your position, you had come from difficult circumstances. You said you didn't really have much. Here you are with probably more money than you'd ever seen. I mean, was it hard? Were you tempted? What did you even go through with that?
Honestly, I started to buy like a lot of cars and like just things I've always wanted, things like that. And I started to get into like racing and stuff, like street racing. And I actually, a few years back, I had a car crushed and it was on the news and everything for street racing with a bunch of other cars. So
what happened there? What's the story there?
I was racing on 485, which is a highway in North Carolina.
Mhm.
And like they had a speed trap set up because we race almost every night. It's just a big loop, you know? So we'd race every night and they set a speed trap up and we all got caught. Not just me, everybody, because we had nowhere to go.
How many people were involved
It
in
was
this?
12 people.
12? So you had a whole like illegal street race. This was Need for Speed real life. It's like a real Need for Speed underground.
It was a fun time. It was actually one of my favorite cars too. So
What kind of car was it?
it was a BMW, an M3.
Wow. So I mean, you were pushing. What did you? I mean, so you're racing BMWs out in street life. So you go from nothing to street racing BMWs. Your life is a movie, man.
I mean, it was just the adrenaline and like there was money behind it also most of the time. So that's one of my pushing keys
Mhm.
because the more I could build myself, the more I can build my community, you know? Like I've always liked to help people out and do things. So when I did start making money, of course I did things for myself, but I would always try and like give to my family or like people I see in need just because I had it at that point in time.
I see. How does that turn into the next step, which is, I'm guessing, the car dealership?
Okay, so I started, man, it really is like a movie. Okay, so I started with four-wheelers and dirt bikes first, and then I moved to motorcycles, and then I moved to cars. And before I had a dealer's license, I actually sold around like 100, 150 cars. But
Was it just like on Facebook Marketplace, or how were you flipping these cars from your house?
Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, I'd sell them from my house. And one day I got a bus from school, a bunch of cops outside my house. And I was like, you know, what's going on?
Yeah.
And this lady actually reported that I sold her a car, and it's called open title. It's when you sell a car, but you don't sign the title. So the person that sells it to you signs it, and then you just pass it over to the next person. But that title had a lien on it, which I wasn't aware of. So I got arrested. I got out the same day, and luckily I didn't do anything that I was underage, and they didn't have proof that I sold any more vehicles.
This was all before you were 18?
Yeah, this was all before
I
I was
was thinking this was like fairly recent, but you're saying you were a minor buying. Wow, I can't even imagine people's idea of like you're out here trading cars like 16, 17 years old street race. So when that car crash happened, how old were you?
I was 17.
17. And did you get any trouble for that?
I got into a lot of trouble. I was actually in jail for like 3 weeks before I got bonded out.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't something I ever wanted to do again, but it just kind of, when you enjoy something, man, it's so hard to give up.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, it comes with maturity too and time. I mean,
Yeah, most definitely.
we're all products of our environment and circumstances, and
Yep.
you were playing with the hand and experiences that you had been dealt. So
When you play with fire, you get burned. So
I can only imagine as a 17-year-old, you know, having access to these cars and doing things like that, what I would have been doing. So, you know.
yeah, and it was mind blowing at that point in time because I had access to everything I had ever wanted. And my first year in business, I actually made a little over $500,000. So I was selling 40 to 50 cars a month, and that's as a dealer. So it was kind of overwhelming at some points. And then
How old were you when you were doing
so
that?
when I started it, I was 18 and a half, almost 19. So I've had it for a little over 2 years.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And what was the process of you acquiring the dealership? You went to jail, you got out. How were you able to at that point
So
make it official?
I still had a lot of money left over. So you have to get a $50,000 bond. You have to go through the classes to get your dealer's license. You have to be zoned for a dealership. Like, so finding that was actually my hardest thing to do, was to find a location that was zoned for a dealership. So that's really, it's not much of a process, but you still have to do a lot. Like, dealing with the DMV was very hard because they just did not want to see somebody so young start something so serious.
Yes.
Especially, I had a record and everything, which everything's been cleared off my record, thankfully now, which takes money. But so they just didn't want to see it happen. But the best feeling to me was just proving them wrong and showing everybody that I could do it.
Yeah. I mean, the cards were stacked against you and you did it. What was the sauce? I mean, I interview people for a living and I talk to car salesmen a lot. And I know their metrics, I know their KPIs, their key performance indicators. It's very rare that I talk to someone who's had the amount of sales experience from your age, especially moving the number of vehicles you were. How were you doing? What types of vehicles were you taking on? Do you have any car savviness? Do you know how to operate on them yourself? Are you mechanical? I mean, what is the background there?
I actually did, for my first year, I did all the mechanical work myself. And my uncle worked for NASCAR. He was the head mechanic for Jimmy Johnson for like 15 years. And he taught me a lot of that. Wow. So I did all my mechanic work for the first year, and then I hired a mechanic. So, and then the type of cars, I'm selling used cars. So mostly like 2014 and down. And like usually low miles is what I go for.
Wow. And you were able to turn around. So, I mean, can you give us a little bit of an idea? Just because, I mean, to get to $500,000, what were your margins? Were you like acquiring cars for like $1,000 and flipping them for like $5,000? I mean, what were you doing? Oh yeah. Listen, if I could not make over $1,000 on the car, I would not take the leap for it. So it's all about risk versus reward at that point. So if I'm always going to check, I go to the auctions, I'll check everything out the day before I go to the auction. And then I set a price for myself, what the max I'll spend. And if it went over that, I would not buy it. And I just kind of went from there. Wow, that's impressive. And where does that go? You had this dealership, what happened? So one of my employees told me an inspection was done for my car, and it wasn't done. And the same day he told me the inspection was done, I sold the car. So a week later, the DMV inspector showed up and he's like, where's the paperwork for this 2012 Chevy Cruze? So that's what it was. And I'm like, okay, I got the paperwork. Everything's good. And I pull out the paperwork. He's like, where's the inspection? I'm looking. I asked my employee, I'm like, where's the inspection? He's like, oh, it's not done. So at that point in time, I just knew I was screwed. Like, there was nowhere to go. So there's some corner cutting action on the employee side. Oh yeah, and now I just visited my lot today because I'm not allowed on the lot. But is it still in operation? You're just not allowed on it? Yeah, it's still in operation. I'm not allowed to take money from any sales, and I'm not allowed to be on the lot. But I have a partner, and he's kind of running things into the ground at this point in time. So as soon as I get back, everybody's fired because I can't have that reputation, Okay. Yeah. I mean, what's the timeline here? I mean, when do you get to go back? So my suspension's up in June, but I still have to have a hearing with the DMV. So it could be July, August, early August maybe. I just kind of like the A plus B plus C math here, and what I mean by that is you go, I have this employee, he's running things into the ground. By the way, when I get back to work, everybody's fired. I'm sure they kind of are they like aware of this? I mean, at this point, they're like, doesn't matter, we're getting fired anyway. You know, like it's like that kind of be their mentality at this point. Like,
I don't think they know they're getting fired. You know, like they don't know they think they're doing good, but the reality of it is, I've watched my numbers go down. I see the amount of cars that they have on the lot, and I'm not impressed. You know,
you're impressed.
So not impressed at all.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I've never owned a car dealership, and I can't operate on cars, but I'm really excited to hear how this plays out.
It'll be interesting. I'm sure I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. So that all happened. That's your backstory. For all of you who don't know OG Chris's background, there you go. That's a story, right?
There it is.
Where does Meet Me come in? How do you wind up on this app?
Honestly, I've had Meet Me since it was my yearbook. So I just kind of like downloaded it, deleted it off and on, you know, just like seeing what's going on. And then I saw the live one day and I'm like, you know what? This is interesting. Let me try it. And at first it was slow, but it picked up really quick. And I was just like, I enjoy this. I enjoy meeting people from everywhere and just culturing and educating myself, because you can only culture and educate yourself so much in one place. So the more people you know, the more you learn. And I just like to learn. Wisdom is power, and it all went from there. And I enjoy the connections. I enjoy the community, and just it's amazing. The people are amazing. Not everybody, you know what I'm saying? I can't say everybody, but for the majority, 95% of the people, I love having around.
Well, this brings up the burning question, because you made friends and you went to Playlist. So hang on, let's dive into your Playlist experience. So how do you end up deciding to go to Playlist?
Okay, so I just came back on the app in like November, and everybody was talking about Playlist and how much fun it was going to be, how much fun it was last year. And I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go. And I just decided one day, I just bought my ticket for Playlist, and I was like, let's go. And then, you know, Confessions of a Side Piece. So
absolutely,
I went with him and Alex right there, and Christian decided to stay with us. So Christian started getting drunk, and I'm like, oh God, I can't handle this anymore. But he was still a lot of fun. It was just kind of like babysitting at that point in time.
I'm sorry. I didn't expect you to say that. Okay, so it was a good Playlist experience, though.
Yeah, and it was really nice to meet everybody. Gypsy was one of my biggest supporters at the time, so meeting her, and like I got a little jet tattoo too, and like it was just. It was an experience. I've known Sammy for a very long time. Sammy's one of my day ones. So finally getting to meet Sammy also, and like all the other people that I've known since I started was just, it was amazing. It was a good experience, and I'm grateful that I did it, because I wasn't gonna do it. But I just, you know, sometimes you got to take a leap and push yourself.
Why were you not going to do it? Why were you not going to do it?
Because I didn't know too many people off of the app, or too many people that were going to be there. I just knew like a select few. But I started making my rounds and like just getting to know people and things like that. And I was like, yeah, it'd be nice to meet these people and just see who they are on a personal level in person and off of stream.
Yeah, I like it. It's very surreal when you finally connect. You see these faces, you build these deep relationships, and they're actually physically there in front of you. It's like, Zaro. Okay, now my $1 million question. Is Christian getting a spot on the lot? Day one, how many cars do you think he's moving?
Honestly, I feel like I could teach a blind man to sell sand in the desert. So I feel like after a week or two, he'd be
good.
He'd be good.
All right.
But first day, I don't think he's selling anything.
All right. I love Christian. I pick on him way too much though.
Yeah, Christian's awesome. He's just
we're not
a lot sometimes.
No, he's funny. Okay, so on that note, here we are. Top badge is something that you've talked about many times.
Yeah.
I've been in your stream. You're like, man, I thought it was happening this week. How have you stayed motivated? Because it's been a long time that you've been taking a stab and getting it. So, what's kept you motivated and pushing?
Honestly, I have such an amazing, loyal group of people, and they're literally in there every day. So they just kind of keep pushing me forward and don't let me get discouraged. And it does suck sometimes because I do fairly well on the app, but it'll happen when it's time. Whenever it's ready, it'll be there.
Being a salesperson, I can only imagine the fire that's been lit in you. Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm determined to do something, I make it happen,
Yeah. You did go to the VIP party at Playlist, which was, that was pretty cool to see you there.
Oh yeah, special shout out to Jim B and Thomas because
yeah, shout out to them, right? No, they make cool things happen. I mean, big shout out to them for helping to organize events like that and put on things like that.
And they're the ones that like notice me standing there and they're like, "You want to go in?" No, yeah, of course I do.
I like it.
It just kind of went from there, and I enjoyed myself.
Well, is there anything that, before we wrap up, I think this has been a fantastic conversation. Anything that you'd like to share, shout out, go over before we wrap up today?
I mean, I'll always give a shout out to everybody, all my supporters, and everybody's there for me. And none of us could do this without our viewers. So I'm truly appreciative. So
I like it. I love it, man. Well, thanks so much for coming on. We're going to wish you luck, as well as everyone else from tonight, Tiff, and as well as Christian for making a run of the badge. I think all three of you are very deserving. This isn't the Hunger Games, by the way. It's not like one of them's got to fight it out for it, okay?
I was still nervous to come on here, but it's
right.
Nice.
Yeah. Could you imagine, though? All right. So, all right. Well, I've had a great time, Chris. Thanks for coming on the show, dude.
I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. All right. Hey, that's a show. Special shout out to Christian. Special shout out to Tiff. Special shout out to Chris there. OG Chris. I had a great time. There's some photos of Chris and I together, as well as with Christian. Now Tiff. Tiff, I didn't have the pleasure of meeting Tiff. But I've got some photos on Instagram. You can check it out at Chris Casper, spelled exactly like this. That's my Instagram. Don't forget tomorrow to check out, everyone, the Meet Me Live Aid show. The Meet Me Live Aid show. I'll be hosting it. It is going to be a weekly benefit, bringing in talent from off of the platform, signed artists who are going to play and sing and do their amazing talent for all of you. It's free to show up. It's going to be #1 on trending. You cannot miss it. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Much love. Can't wait to see all you guys again. I'll see you tomorrow for the Meet Me Live Aid. I'll be live before it, and then leading into it, I'll be on there hosting it. All right, so much love. I'll talk to you guys later. It was great to see you, and have a good night.